18 graph question. Okay, this is very interesting question because up to here, up to 2018 the formation of graphs are little simple, but after 2017 they made the questions little harder. So every year they will change the fifth, okay, the last question in graph part they will change in order to check whether you understood the theory. Okay, you have the theory well or not. Okay, for year by year they will change the inclusion of the last part question. Okay, this is not a constant one, but up to here, the behavior of graph and express the quadratic function, plot the graph and find the quadratic function, those are easy, but the last part, that is the unique one for each and every paper. That's kind of a unique one, so you should identify what they were asked. That's the first key thing you should find. Then after, according to the diagram, how can we answer the question, that one also important one. Okay, let's see first. Here y is a quadratic function of x. That means the graph equation is not given. Okay, then um, an incomplete table containing values of y corresponding to several values of x is given below. Accordingly, we have x values and its corresponding y values as well. So when x is -1, y is 6. X is 0, y is 1. Accordingly, we have to find when x is equals to 4, what would be the y value. For here, actually, we know what would be the parabolic shape. Okay, parabolic shape. Sometimes it would be a negative parabola, sometimes it might be a positive parabola, but here you can see there is a symmetrical, okay, there is a symmetrical alignment of these coordinates. Okay, you should identify that one, symmetrical alignment of points. Okay, that means not in x, in y axis that alignment exists. So accordingly we can find the corresponding coordinate. When x is -1, y is 6. Look at this, the last coordinates. Okay, last coordinates. For an example, when I take the graph is something like this, okay, or not, something like this. So the last coordinate, these are, okay, it's both of their y coordinates mostly same. Both of their y coordinates mostly same. X coordinates differ, but y coordinates are mostly same. Here you can see 6 and 6, and if it is 1, this would be 1. If it is -2, it would be -2. Here you can clearly see the symmetrical orientation of the y coordinates. The middle one is the least point. Okay, least point or highest point. In positive parabola, that would be our highest point. In negative parabola, that would be our least points. Okay, this is the symmetrical orientation of y coordinates. That's how we can find when x is equals to 1, what is the value for y. So if it is 6, the last values are same, before last values are same, before that one also same, the middle one, that remains unpaired because that is the lowest or highest point according to the diagram. This is the way you should determine what would be the y coordinate. Accordingly, let's plot our graph in graph paper. Let's mark our x coordinates. The x coordinates given are -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and its corresponding y coordinates are also already given. Y coordinates are 6. If its coordinate is 6, last coordinate also, this is 1, so before last one also 1. This is -2, so it would be -2, and the -3 remains unpaired because that is the lowest point. And most of the students are struggling how to plan the graph. That is very important thing. Okay, drawing the graph is important. Before that, how to draw the graph according to a requirement. Okay, sometimes students will mark their coordinates with axis like that, and their graph should be something like this. That means this area and this area they don't need, but somehow they keep that area with them, so that will decrease the precision of the graph. Okay, precision of the graph, that means when you plot your graph in higher range, so that will give you a better graph. Here you can see not only this, something like this. Sometimes the graph should be somewhere over here, but they will use this much axis. That means this region we don't want, this region we don't want, and this region also we don't want. So accordingly you should plan your graph perfectly. That's important. Let's plan our graph. That means that's very easy. Next axis, what are the coordinates we need? The minimum value in x-axis, that is -1, and maximum value was 5. So in x-axis, it's enough to keep -1 to 5. Similarly, in y-axis also, the minimum value was -3 and maximum was 6. Okay, maximum was 6. Minimum is -3, maximum is 6. Accordingly, let's draw a graph Cartesian coordinate plane skeleton. Okay, with x is -1 to 5 and y is -3 to 6. Okay, we just planned our graph and implemented it as well. Then next thing is very important. You should mark the perfect coordinates on the Cartesian plane. So x is -1, y is 6. That means here, first point here, when x is 0, y is 1. Okay, when x is 0, y is 1. When x is 1, y is -2. So here, x is 2, y is -3. X is 3, y is -2. 4, 1, 5 and 6. 5 and 6. Yeah, we just marked our points accordingly. Now let's draw a curvature. This is the shape of your graph. This is a negative parabola. Okay, negative parabola. Then we have some questions. Let's answer to those questions. Okay, what's our first question? First question is to find plot the graph. Okay, then after the third question is asking that to find. Okay, describe the behavior of y as x increase 0 to 2. Okay, describe the behavior of y when x is increasing 0 to 2. When x is increasing 0 to 2, what is the behavior of this graph? Okay, this is the thing we have to describe in words. Okay, when x is 0, y is 1. Okay, when x is 0, y is 1. That's the first thing you should do. When x is 0, y is 1. When x is 2, y is -3. Okay, -3. Okay, when x is increasing in this region, the graph, that means the y value is decreasing. Okay, y value is decreasing. So that means you should write that in proper words. That means when x is increasing. Okay, I'll write that. Just look at this. When x is increasing from 0 to 2. 0 to 2. So the function is decreasing. Okay, the function is decreasing. That function means it's corresponding y coordinates. Okay, here you can see when x is 0, y is 1. Then when x is 2, that is decreasing. Here you can clearly see the y values are decreasing. The y values, the corresponding y values are the corresponding y values. Corresponding is important. Okay, when x is increasing 0 to 2, what is happening for the corresponding points? That means the y coordinates are decreasing. The corresponding y coordinates, y values, okay, are decreasing from 1 to -3. From 1 to -3. Okay, this is the behavior of this graph when x is increasing from 0 to 2. What is the behavior of this graph? When x is increasing from 0 to 2, the corresponding y values are decreasing from 1 to -3. This is the way you should write the behavior of this graph. Okay, behavior means its corresponding y coordinate. That's called as behavior. So that is decreasing from 1 to -3. 3. Okay, here the question is express the quadratic function in the form y equals to x minus a whole square plus b. Okay, if they were given the quadratic function, we can factorize that one. Okay, we can make it as a square and a constant. That's easy. But in this question, they were not given the graph equation, the quadratic equation. That means we cannot do that work. So I hope you remember that we have to use symmetrical axis, okay, symmetrical line of this graph and least point of this graph to represent our answer in this form. Okay, represent our answer in this form. Here the A, okay, A is indicating symmetrical axis. Okay, A is indicating symmetrical axis. This is the common type of graph when we plot that graph. Uh, that's not a problem if it is a negative parabola or positive parabola. That's not matter. Either negative or positive, no, two possibilities. So the A is indicating, okay, how this did, as I mentioned earlier, that means it is a positive parabola or negative parabola. That's not matter. Okay, that not matters. So here the A is indicating, okay, the A is indicating symmetrical axis. Okay, equation of symmetrical axis. Let's find them in detail. Okay, this is very important one, symmetrical axis. And the B is, okay, B is denoted by least point. Okay, B is indicating if it is a negative parabola, that is indicating the least point, or if it is a positive parabola, so you should, okay, here let's see. In this formula, y equals to x minus a whole square plus b. This is our formula. No, in this formula, this is very important. A is indicating, okay, whether that's a positive parabola or negative parabola. That not matters. Okay. A is indicating the symmetrical axis of this particular given function. B is indicating least point. Okay. If it is a decreasing, that means negative parabola, that will indicate the B. The constant is indicating minimum point. If it is a positive parabola, that will indicate the highest point. Okay, this is indicating the least point. Least point. Okay, not coordinate, only least point. Least point. Okay, accordingly, now let's mark our A and B values. A is symmetrical axis. Okay, you know, when we draw a line through x is equals to positive 2. Okay, when we draw a graph, a straight line which is going through x is equals to 2, that will bisect the graph into two equal portions. So that means the symmetrical axis of this graph, which is equals to x is equals to 2. Okay, symmetrical axis, that is x is equals to 2. Similarly, the next thing is least point of the graph. Okay, this is the least point. Okay, that means least point we have to consider about its corresponding y value, not its coordinate. Least point means that is indicating the y value, no. So least point was -3. Least point of this given parabola was -3. By using that, we can easily write our graph equation. So y equals to, look at this carefully, okay, y equals to x minus, okay, minus a. What is our a? Symmetrical axis. Symmetrical of the axis of this graph, which is 2. So x minus 2 whole square. B is least point which is -3, which is -3. So accordingly, we can write graph equation in this way. Okay, in this way we can write the graph equation. Okay, this is very important one. I think this thing is coming for 2019, 2022, 2024 all papers. So this is a crucial thing. X minus a whole square plus b. In that, a is symmetrical axis, b is least point or highest point of that respective graph. Okay, last question. Just listen the question carefully. Y is equals to 2. That means y is equals to 2. T means y is equals to t means that is a straight line which is going through a particular point in y that should be parallel with x-axis. For an example, if y is equals to 1, that should be here. Y is equals to 2, y is equals to 3, y is equals to 4, y is equals to 0, y is negative 1, y is negative 2, y is negative 3. Likewise, these are some possibilities too. There is another condition, that is the quadratic function to intersect at 2 points with positive x coordinates. Okay, just listen this carefully. Okay, the statement was clear, so you should understand that statement clearly. Y is equals to t is a straight line parallel to x-axis. What is the interval in which t should be? Okay, t should be lie for the straight line and graph of the quadratic function to intersect at 2 points with um, positive x coordinates. Okay, that means we are going to draw some parallel lines. Okay, parallel lines which are parallel to x-axis. Okay, that is indicated by y equals to t. Now, for an example, y equals to 5. Okay, when we draw a line at that time, that will intersect it at two places. No, that particular point will intersect with our respective graph at two places. So, when you find its corresponding x coordinates, both should be positive. That's our condition. Okay, when you find both should be positive. But in this case, when you draw a line, okay, y is equals to 5. So, this is a practical question. Okay, there is no any theoretical uh, application for this, but if you understood the theory, so this is the way you should apply that theory according to the question. Y is equals to t. That means a line which is parallel to x-axis. Okay, I just indicated a line and its corresponding x coordinates both should be positive. Okay, both should be positive. But here you can see, here this is negative and here it is positive. So accordingly, this is not our desired value. Okay, this is not our desired value. So when I draw a line through x is equals to 4, one value is negative, another one is positive. So this is also not possible. Here, not possible. One is negative, another one is positive. So when I draw somewhere here, look at this. At this place, x is 0, y is positive 4. Both are not positive, but when you draw a line here, okay, somewhere greater than this, somewhere less than this one, 0.5, here you can have this is 0.2 something, this is 4. Okay, 0.2 and 4. Both of the x coordinates are positive. Both x coordinates are positive. Okay, this is a possible point. Okay, when you draw a line through this, here you can see its corresponding x coordinates. Both are positive. When you draw here, this is positive. Here, it's positive. Both are positive. Here, these are positive. At negative 3, only one point. Okay, only one point we have. That means it cannot happen. Okay, when y is equals to negative 3, that will give you only one positive x coordinate. So that is incorrect. So starting from here and ended up here. In between this range, when you draw any line which is parallel to x-axis, that will give you two corresponding x coordinates, two corresponding positive x coordinates. Okay, two corresponding positive x coordinates. Okay, I'll repeat again from the beginning. Okay, I'll repeat again. Look at this. When you draw a line, that is y is equals to t. No, y is equals to t. That means you are going to draw a line. When that line intersected with this graph, that will give you respective two x coordinates. Those both x coordinates should be in positive region. Positive region. That means right side of y-axis. Accordingly, here I analyzed and explained you below this. Okay, below this line, when you draw a line, okay, both are positive. Here, both are positive. Both are positive. Likewise, up to here. Okay, up to here, when you draw any line which is parallel to x-axis, that will give you two positive x coordinates. Accordingly, the range of t, okay, the range of t can be determined by this. So that means when all the y values, okay, when the y values are less than 1, okay, less than 1 and greater than -3. When y values are less than 1, okay, here you can see all the y values. Y is equals to t, y is equals to t. That means that is we are talking about a line which is going through y-axis. So here you can see, that means when you draw any line that should intersect with this graph two places and both of their coordinates should be positive. So below this line and above this line, this is the only region that will give you the desired requirement. So accordingly, this is the answer you should write. Okay, this is the answer you should write. This is not a question to memorize, and you cannot memorize and spit it on the paper. Okay, you should apply the theoretical knowledge to do the question by yourself.